you want to open up your hymnals to, it's kind of like church, everyone wants to sit in the back here and feel like, okay, I'll just talk a little louder, I guess. It's not hard to do that. Thank you. All right. There we go. Yeah. We'll pass the hat a second time. Thank you for coming. Tonight, open house is to talk about basically two referendum questions. The reason we're down in the elementary is the first question has the biggest impact on this building and the education that happens in here. So, working on trying to preserve the past. Here we are in this building, and we want to try to keep this footprint with this referendum, but moving forward. Go ahead, Tom. So, where are we? 50 years ago, a little over 50 years ago, this building was built. You think back 50 years ago, you know, the cruel thing to say, special education students didn't go to school 50 years ago. They just didn't go to the public school system. You look at where we are today, and we have at least 3 spaces in this building dedicated for special education needs. Those of you that are Mineral Point alumni and attended the middle school that is now currently the schoolhouse apartments, you were 5th graders when you went there. Now you have 3 classrooms worth of 5th grade down in this building. So why are we out of space? Those are some reasons we're out of space. The middle school, high school building was built a little over 20 years ago. Beautiful facility. The maintenance staff does a great job. Everybody that comes in there says, you're kidding when you say it's over 20 years old. No, it's not. It's over 20 years old, and they take a lot of pride in trying to maintain it, just like the staff does down here. There are just a few extra issues that are happening in this building that need to be addressed. Go ahead, Tom. So, where are we as a school district? Based on our last report card, Mineral Point is the 2nd-ranked school in the state of Wisconsin based on report cards. A little over 420 school districts in the state of Wisconsin. So not schools our size, not schools under a certain population. Of all schools in the state of Wisconsin, Mineral Point's test scores came in 2nd in the state. The newest test scores are out. I have an opportunity to view them, but they are embargoed because schools can challenge some of the scores that are on there. Maybe things aren't quite right. As a matter of fact, I'm actually challenging our graduation rate. It's less than 100%, and I had an opportunity to talk to somebody at the DPI today, and like, I need an explanation here. I've got 2 students who were foreign exchange students, so they didn't earn a diploma here. They went back to their home to get the diploma back home, but you have them in our system as not graduating, and that counts against us. And then we have a young lady who left in January of her freshman year, and this is within the 4-year cohort. So back in 2017, this is a ding on the high school's graduation rate, and this young lady withdrew from school January 27th, 2014. Why is she being counted as a non-graduate against our, well, there's some certain things that I have to try to dig up for the DPI to rectify that. And other schools around the state are doing the same thing. So that's why those report cards are embargoed yet, so people have an opportunity to question and challenge some of the reporting on there, and that it gives the most accurate information possible. So that window is going on right now, so that's why the report cards scores are embargoed. I'll let the cat out of the bag a little bit. We did all right again as a school district. We still did all right, so there's nothing to worry about that. Here's our neighboring school districts in this area. Where are we in that comparison? Go ahead, Tom. So I said 2 questions, and they will be in this order on the ballot. Question number 1 is for $11.92 million. That is for an addition, remodel, renovation at this location. Question number 2 is for $350,000 for capital or for operational referendum. It's a recurring referendum, so that'll be every year we're going to be asking for the $350,000. And I'll kind of come back to both of these here as we go through. how did this start? About a year ago, some parents, community members came forward. There's some concerns about the elementary building. So the school board said, let's put a committee together, elementary school planning committee. And they gave them a task. And there are a couple of board members in here who could hopefully attest to this. The number one task was, don't come back and tell us we have to have a referendum. That's not what we're asking you to do. Please be open and investigate every opportunity of what could happen. But we don't want the first thing to come back and say, gotta go to referendum. So they met with teachers, you'll see they met with students, they met with community members, they explored all sorts of things. What are the issues here? What are we looking at? What are the space needs? What are the concerns? So they went through the building. We're in what is the, I couldn't tell you the right word to mash together here. It's the gym and cafeteria at the same time. You know, there are some space needs in this location. There are some safety concerns in this location. Talk about what to do next. Go ahead. FEH, a design firm, architecture firm out of Dubuque, met with the parent group. And you can see they're meeting with students down in the library. What would you like to see? How does this play together? What are some components you'd like to see if we're going to do something? If we do a new building, what would you like to see? How would it need to be laid out? If we do something here, how would it be put together? What's the best way to provide the best educational environment we can? So a lot of meetings, a lot of reporting back to the school board. There were a couple of parents who were in charge of that planning committee that met and came back and made regular reports to the school board. Here's where we are, here's what we're finding. Okay? Go ahead, Tom. It was decided to send out a survey. We have a district newsletter, the White and Blue Review. So every home that gets a White and Blue Review received a survey. So that was all the taxpayers' households, whether they had children in the school district or not, or grandchildren or not. All of those households received a survey. A little over 2,300 surveys were sent out. We received back 15%, 15.5% of those surveys. So if you see 365 came back. Other than going to the homes like the census and knocking on the door and asking you to fill out the form, I don't know other ways to try to get that percentage high. I have people that work in my building at middle school, high school, that looked at me when they said, survey? What survey? I said, look, I don't even have kids in the school district anymore. I got a survey at home. Oh, well, maybe my wife got it filled out and I just didn't know. But surveys went out, they were collected, and the most supported concepts in the survey came back in these areas. So of the 15.5, of the 365 responses that the district received back, 87% of those were in support of building code 88 compliance. That was the #1 supported area. And there's talk that this building does not meet code. This building is not compliant with code. And I would say that that is an inaccurate statement. The building was built, and it was built to code when it was built. If you're a contractor, a home builder, anything, you work on a building, an older building, and you do a major remodel now, you know now you have to bring that building up to 2019 code. So if we have to do some remodeling here and renovating, then we have to bring it up to 2019 building codes. But to say that this does not meet building code would be an inaccurate statement. But if we're moving forward and do the remodel piece, then the entire building has to be brought up to current standards. Then in order to support renovating upstairs level, downstairs level, if you've been in the downstairs of the elementary school, there's a unique portion of the hallway that you can see it when you're walking towards it. You can feel you're walking uphill, and if you lean a little bit left, you go down the hill to the left because of the way the hallway is heaving. There's some settling issues on the south side of the elementary building that need to be addressed. Bus parking, parent drop-off pickup, a concern. We want students getting in and out of the school safely. A secure lobby. We currently have a secure entrance into the building. You have to buzz into the building, and then there's a second buzz-in system in order to get into the building, or you can come into the office. So we have that set up now. It's not that we're not secure. But with an additional remodel, the main entrance to the office is going to switch off of Cawthorn Street and be on the northwest side of the building. So we would need to reduplicate that in that location and make sure that there is a buzz-in system. That the only way people get in when they're not necessarily the regulars, the teachers, the students, is that they have to come in through the office, that they have to be buzzed in. It's an unfortunate reality in this day and age. And then the fifth most supported option, and I'll say this, is a big classroom. Because that's really what the gym is. It's a big classroom. From 8 o'clock in the morning until 3 o'clock in the afternoon, it's a classroom. The unfortunate part right now is that this classroom gets shut down for how long a day, Tom? 2 hours? Because they set up lunch tables, they serve the lunches, and then they clean up after lunch. So for 2 hours a day, this room is unavailable for anything else. And I would imagine the elementary teachers, the elementary principal would say, if I didn't have to do that, scheduling might be a little bit easier. And boy, we might be able to offer a little bit more instruction in FIAT and instruction in the classroom and intervention opportunities. The people, the staff down here, if you've ever walked in here on a heavy, rainy, downpouring day or a bitter cold day, it is the most organized, controlled chaos you could see anywhere. Just walk through the hallways on one of those days, and the students are all safe, they're all protected, they're all doing something, and you get a feeling that it's Christmas time at home and all the presents have been opened up and the kids are just there playing. I mean, it's great, but it'd be great to have a location that more things could happen out of the hallway and allow those children and the staff to do more things with the students. So yes, it is a gym. Yes, it can be used at nights and weekends, but it's a classroom first and foremost. And if you look in here, if you come in and watch a FIAT class, you realize maybe this isn't the safest place for a FIAT class. Okay, thanks, Tom. So how do we decide, how did FEH decide what to do? They measured the space. We have a little over 60,000 square feet of educational space in the building. They do this is their profession. They go out, what does the national industry standard say? Well, it says it's better to have 84,000 square feet. The plan, the design plan that's been proposed, the concept that's proposed is kind of somewhere in the middle. It's not the Cadillac, it's not, you know, we want the swimming pool and we want the 16-lane track and we want the workout room. It's what do we need to provide a good education space for the students. So it's about a little over 71,000 square feet is what the plan has come forward with. Okay, go ahead. Maybe you didn't notice, maybe you did when you walked in the gym, because this is the entrance into the gym. All right. I know it's not a huge difference, but by ADA code compliance, for a wheelchair to get in there, there needs to be more of a ramp than just this. This is a temporary fix. It protects the lip of the gym. Gym floor was added on, this rubberized floor was added on top, but you know, we would have to build a little bit of a ramp out into the hallway to make it true ADA compliant, wheelchair compliant. All right? Right. Some safety and security issues. The top picture with the little card strapped over the door is our response to potential intruder. Please have your doors locked. Well, I know in my building how many times students are in and out of the classroom. I can only imagine that you take that number times about 100, and that's what it's going to be down in this building. And having to stop your lesson or have somebody stationed by the door to let a student in and out isn't the most conducive way to teaching, instructing, and learning. So this is a simple solution that keeps the door handle locked, but allows students in and out. If there were the need to have a lockdown, simply breaking the rubber band and shutting the door is locked and secured, everybody is safe. It's not the best system, but it's a system that works. And then no lockers, no protection in the hallway. It's a school. I know it's a school. It's what do schools do? Schools hang things on the wall. They put up artwork. They make it inviting. And the fire department will come in and say too much here, too much there, take it down, but it's still a school. You know? So can it be a safety issue? Sure. There's flammables everywhere. But we have to make sure that it's a safe, comfortable learning environment for all students. Gathering spaces, this is it. This is the best place for large crowds, and you can look around and see that it isn't necessarily the best space. For those of you with children that have gone through, the elementary Christmas program is held up at the middle school, high school, so that they can hold all the people that want to be there. The last few years, Mr. David has had his plays up at the high school using the stage up there because it has enough space to hold the parents. So it just has a need for more room in town. Changes, it's not rows, it's not the chalkboard, it's not your own black little chalk slate that you do your math ciphering on. Students out in the hallways, creative spaces, creative gatherings, groupings of students, multiple things going on in the classroom at the same time. It's just not rows of desks anymore. Education has changed. Another way education has changed, the amount of technology. It used to be when students took the state exam, it was paper pencil. You handed out this wonderful thick test booklet, gave it out to every kid, they filled in all the dots, collected it, sent it in, and months later they gave you the results. Now the state test is all computerized. From 3rd grade through 8th grade, the Wisconsin Forward exam is all done on either a Chromebook, a laptop, desktop computer, but it's no longer on paper pencil. This building, built 50 years ago, wasn't built to support all of those needs. It's not this way anymore, but somebody once said that it used to be a power strip plugged into a power strip, plugged into an extension cord, run over the ceiling tiles to put a bank of 2 computers in the back corner of a room. Might have been the normal around here until I think the fire department might have said, hey, you can't do that, otherwise we have to shut you down. So the rooms aren't built for those kinds of needs, today's educational needs. Okay, go ahead, Tom. Things that happen, you know, things that happen during the school day, things that happen after the school day, the space is used. You know, the space in my building, the middle school, high school, there might be teams, there might be individuals in at 6 o'clock in the morning, and there's community groups in there. Some nights when I'm heading home from a board meeting, there's community groups in there using that space. So if you can't get in there, what's your next option? To come down here. So the space is used by community for multiple kinds of things. What do we need to do? Spend more money. Yep, we can spend more money. And we can spend it on certain items. We can fix the plumbing. We can fix the heat. We can fix the electrical. At what cost? If you talk to Roger, Roger will tell you, I'll make it run as long as the money can go into the classroom. So we can either maintain the buildings and keep everything up as beautiful and perfect as it can be, or I'll sacrifice some of those things and I'll make sure they run so that teachers can have what they need in the classroom. And that's what's happened for years and years and years. Put the money in the classroom, give the money to the students for what they need over what the buildings need. Keep them safe, but what needs to be replaced? Boilers need to be replaced. We have replaced the windows here. We have replaced the individual univents in each of the classrooms, but the boiler that feeds that needs to be replaced. Last year, there was freezer or refrigerator down here. You know, those aren't a $500 refrigerator, Bob's Electric, when it breaks. So those are pretty big expenses that we need to make sure that we're prepared for. Question number 2. Question number 2 is the recurring referendum. Why do we need a recurring referendum? We've had some success that has translated into more students wanting to be a part of our district. More students looking at, more parents looking at, what does that report card say? How are they doing it? I want to be a part of that. I want my child to have that experience. You have some of the best teachers in the state of Wisconsin that work in this district. And because of them and because of what they do, you get those test scores. Because of them and what they do, you get a culture and a climate that parents want their children to be a part of. We need to continue those strong academic programs. It's who we are, it's what we're doing, it's what we become. And we need to have that recurring referendum to help continue to support that, to support some of the technology needs that the district has, to support those technology needs for the state testing, for the other educational programs. This number, $350,000, to be honest with you, I can't tell you, and I'm not sure if the 3 board members here can say, yep, this is why it was $350,000. Because it was discussed $250,000, $500,000. Do we go for $1 million? What should it be? And then 350 was thrown out there, and that's what we're moving forward with. That was the vote from the board to move forward with $350,000. This is my 8th year in the district. 7 years ago, we came for an operating referendum of $1 million. A recurring referendum for $1 million. Prior to that referendum, the veteran teachers can tell you, there are 3 out of 4 years, there was a salary freeze. They spent down fund balance money to continue to support the educational programs. What do you need in your classroom? We'll take it out of fund balance. You need textbooks. We'll take it out of fund balance. And the fund balance was spent down, and spent down, and spent down until it was around 15%. Not necessarily a healthy number. There are districts that have worse, but not a healthy number. The board has a policy now, sets where the minimum fund balance needs to be. But when that $1 million referendum went by, or passed, I should say, really, the first 600,000 of that plugged that hole. And the superintendent at that time had said, this will probably buy the district 5 years. We'll probably be coming back in 5 years asking for another operating referendum. Well, Mineral Point, financially, you can say Mineral Point got lucky. We have what's called sparsity aid. The number of Mineral Point students dropped a little bit more, and a little bit more, and we hit the magic number at the time, 745. We had less than 745 students for the district that's our size. And that qualified us for sparsity aid. With sparsity aid, you get more state funding. Our enrollment was coming down a little bit. We were graduating classes of 60 and bringing in classes of 50. So we got some hold harmless declining enrollment money. We had a one-time bump from the governor. We're going to give you $200 per pupil. It's one time. It's not coming back year after year after year. It's just, here's this one-time check. And then for us, the other fortunate thing is open enrollment numbers. 8 years ago, we had more students leaving the district for open enrollment than were coming in. And to do a simple math, if you get $10,000 per student, if they leave, you send 2/3 of that money to the district they go to. So you'd send $6,700. If our student left and went to Dodgeville, we would send $6,700 to Dodgeville. Yeah, we get to keep 1/3 of that, but that does not help us continue to heat it, to pay for the paper, to pay for the resources. Well, a few years ago, that number switched. And all of a sudden, we have a few more open enrollment in than out. And that number has continued to grow. Those students aren't Mineral Point students. They don't live in the Mineral Point district. So that doesn't hurt us in qualifying for sparsity aid. But we do get that 2/3 of that funding now coming into us. And now that number is actually, instead of 6,700, this current school year, that number is a little bit more than 7,300. So for every open enrolled student that comes to our district, we're getting $7,300 more for each one of those students. So that has pushed us, instead of 5 years down the road, that has pushed us to 7 years down the road. The school board said, we want you to bring a balanced budget back to us. Don't present anything else other than a balanced budget. In the spring of the year, we asked the teachers, turn in your budget requests. What do you need for your classroom? What technology needs? What classroom supplies do you have to have? What furniture do you need? If something's broken, it needs to be replaced. We get all those things in the spring of the year, and then we start to look at it and look at, okay, what do we see coming from the state? What do we think our state aid is going to be? And at that point in time, we had to cut $300,000 out of those budget requests in order to present a balanced budget. So the board made the decision to come forward asking for $350,000. That will hopefully get us a few years down the road and help. Maybe we can continue the open enrollment trend and continue to bring in more open enrolled students, continue to get that additional funding. But there is a need to help fill the things that were cut. Go ahead, Tom. Roger has a capital maintenance budget. Actually, let me back that up. Roger had a capital maintenance budget at $100,000. As I said, the boiler here is extremely old. If the boiler goes, the capital maintenance budget would have been able to purchase a new one. Part of the $300,000 that was cut, all $100,000 out of Roger's capital maintenance budget. So now if things happen, the board is given permission to use some of the fund balance to pay for equipment, to pay for some of those repairs as they come along. But it's not necessarily a healthy position to be in, going back to using fund balance for some of those kinds of things. Some technology needs. The elementary, as I talked about, testing, state testings on computers. The elementary put in a request for some more Chromebooks. They were hoping for a cart of 20. That had to be cut out of the budget. The servers that run the network for both buildings, they're housed in the high school building. There's 2 servers. Dependable Solution is our technology support company. Those servers are past warranty. Now, they're good, and I hope they're real good, and keep those running all year long, but they needed to be replaced at the end of warranty, and we had to push that back here, so we're delaying that payment. So there are things that are coming along that we know are coming along that need to be done, and the $350,000 will allow us to do those things. Go ahead, Tom. So coming back, FEH laid out in pieces. If we were to do one thing and one thing only, if the top thing was making sure we're ADA compliant, FEH came back and said that's going to be a little over $2 million to do that. Go ahead, Tom. To do the renovations, so the first floor and second floor, it's going to be a little over $3 million. And that would be, we did stage 1, and then you paid for it or borrowed for it, and then a crew would come back and do stage 2 or step 2. It would cost this. Go ahead, Tom. If you do the next piece on another time, $750,000. Go ahead. $2.5 million for the front entrance, moving into the northwest corner. Go ahead, Tom. And then about $2.25 million, a little over $2.25 million for the Fayette classroom. So that's how we get to the $11.92 million. What's it going to look like? Here's the draft. It's also in the back. It's on our website. We sent it home in a flyer to all district residents. This concept, that northwest corner, you're looking at the upper level here, kind of the bird's eye view. Go ahead. So how would it play out? This is the lower level. There will be 3 classrooms, kindergarten classrooms, in this concept, put out in that addition. And then the main floor of the gymnasium. Anything in the existing building with red lines through it, in order to give classrooms more square footage, more floor space, some walls would be taken down and rebuilt in different locations to increase the size of classrooms. So anything that's got the red lines through it is something that would be changed in that fashion. And everything brought up to code as far as electrical, making sure we have enough outlets in the rooms and so on and so forth. The upper level, now you're looking at it on the roof, so you see the roof of the gym on the top level. The office is on the left side in the red. That's above the kindergarten classrooms. So it's a 2-story addition out on that side of the building. The main entrance is going to be coming off of the parking lot. So if you think about where we're talking, it's this back corner. Currently there's some blacktop. If you go out past the library, there's a couple of basketball hoops there. Those would come out, and that would be the lower level there. The upper level would be close to the elevation of where the parking lot is, and that would be the main entrance. So buses would drop off there, parents would drop off there, so students would be walking in essence, on the second level of the building. The main entrance would move from the Cawthorn side of the building to the parking lot side. And again, classrooms renovated, walls moved to give teachers the square footage that they need for their current educational rooms. Operational referendum, again, allows us, this is question, allows us to continue trying to offer the programs that we offer, trying to maintain the level of education that we have. If we can't grow it, we need to provide those opportunities for our students. All right. Where's our enrollment going? In 2017-18, 724 students. Okay? And when they say the affectionate term butts and seats, 724 students. We don't get 724 students worth of state aid. For a 4-year-old kindergarten program, we only get 6/10 of a body. So they can only sit on one cheek when they're in the chair instead of both. But we have increased that number in this current school year. It's gone up to 759 butts and seats. And again, those are open enrolled students, students that don't count against our sparsity aid. There are 4-year-old kindergarten students in there. We don't get a true one-to-one count for them. But our enrollment is going up, which is a good thing. That's a good problem to have. Yeah, go ahead, Tom. Obviously, the biggest thing with the referendum is what's the impact on the mill rate, my taxes. For the last 3 years, the mill rate has come down from 2015 to 2017-18, and I can tell you that the mill rate will come down again this year. A conservative estimate that was brought to the board on Monday night was $11.36. If the equalized value comes in of the property in the district a little bit higher, the mill rate will come down even more. I have Lisa Boyson from R.W. Baird here, and she can help try to explain that a little bit more. Lisa, go ahead.
Hi everyone, I'm Lisa Boyson. I'm from Robert Baird. We're the financial consultant for the district. I've been with Baird for about 30 years. Started when I was 10. And I've worked on about 172 referendums around the state of Wisconsin. So when this topic of mill rate comes up, there's always a lot of confusion. And I always say the easiest way to calculate mill rate or to understand mill rate is to move the decimal over 2. So if you're a property owner and you are looking at your 17-18 taxes, and you own a $100,000 property, just move the decimal over 2 and then it would be your school tax on your tax bill estimated, because you're basically, it's a little bit quirky with the assessed value. But I will say that if you have a $100,000 property, you probably paid $1,209 last year in taxes. Okay, so when you look at mill rate, it's always on a per thousand basis. Double that if you have a $200,000 home, it would be $2,418. You get the idea. So when you're talking about mill rate, just move that decimal over 2, and that would be taxed on a $100,000 property. And you're right, we are estimating that that mill rate will go down even more next year. There is a possibility that we might, if the referendum passes, buffer that drop a little bit to help ease the tax impact the following year. But those are things that we need to talk about, as the board needs to talk about as well, and the administration. So that's just the history on the mill rate. The next slide, I think, is just the tax impact for the referendum itself. So again, these are estimates. They're on the high end. I tend to be very conservative. I think I've gotten 171 out of 172 from under my estimates. So I'm usually, actually I get in trouble sometimes by the contractors. Don't be so conservative. But I like to be conservative because you don't know what's going to happen with interest rates. Right now they're on the rise. They're still very, very low. When I started at Baird 30 years ago, they were in the 7-8% range. We're in the high 30s right now. I think I'm estimating between 4 and 4.5% on the borrowing. So again, that brought the debt question for the facilities. Let's just talk about that for a minute. That $11,920,000. If that question one passes, the district will borrow money. They will issue what's called municipal bonds, which is the lowest interest rate borrowing a school can do. It's very, very low compared to any other kind of borrowing. So they would issue municipal bonds. That amortization over 20 years. They pay it back over 20 years. Just like it is. So we would amortize that and we'd levy a tax every year for that decade. And the increase that you would see in your taxes, again, looking at this drop that we're considering filling in a little bit this fall, would be $1.78 on the mill rate, or $178 on a $100,000 home. That would be $14 a month for a $100,000 property. On on the high end, very conservative. It's likely will come in better than that on question 1. Okay, so again, it's levying a tax for the annual debt payment. Question 2, again, that's the ongoing tax levy. It's a recurring levy for operations, which is $350,000 per year, and that's 74 cents on the mill rate, or $74 on $100,000. Again, conservative. That's looking more at the average over time. We get a little bit of state aid, but there's a year lag on that, so I won't get into a lot of details, but it's an average over the 20-year period. That's $74 on $100,000 home. $6 monthly. Questions on that? Make sense? I think that's the last on the financial slides.
Yeah, I think that, go ahead, Tom.
Okay.
So, in a little less than 4 weeks from yesterday, is the November election. There are 2 questions the Mineral Point School Districts have in front of you. Question 1 is the $11.92 million addition remodel at this location. Question number 2 is for $350,000 recurring referendum. Those 2 questions are not connected. We're not asking for money to operate the new addition remodel. The operating referendum is for the district. It's to support things that have been cut out of budgets. It's to continue to support the educational programs that we have in place, separate from the building remodel. Any questions that you have of me? Yes, sir.
How are we doing on the high school paying off that, or is it paid off? Or?
It is paid off. There are about 424 school districts in the state of Wisconsin. 10% do not have any referendum debt. Mineral Point is one of those. So basically 42, 43 schools in the state have no referendum debt. We're one of them. So that building is paid off. The ag building, which was an add-on later, has been paid off. Belmont is another school district that does not have any referendum debt. Guess what Belmont's doing in November? They're going to referendum. Dodgeville is going to referendum. Iowa Grant went to referendum and passed to do some things. Darlington went to referendum, passed, they did some remodel. Dodgeville is going for referendum. Pecatonica is looking at an operating referendum potentially next fall. There are a record number of schools in the state of Wisconsin that are going to referendum this year. We're just one of those. DJ?
The 5 numbers that you added up came to 11.9. That was over stages. Would that be some cost savings to do it all in one? And would be some significant savings to do it all in one package, or try to do?
Well, we have some people that helped us this last summer here in the audience. I would say yes. Kramer's did our roof project and our office remodel at the middle school, high school, helped make that a secure entrance. They might be better able to answer that question, but I would say yes, there would be some cost savings if everything is going on at one time. Gentlemen?
Yeah, if you can accelerate the construction schedule at any point in time, it's always going to save you money to do that. The other thing to ensure is that we have good, strong competitive bidding on all the subcontracting trades so that we try to get the most value for every dollar that we build. So that's real important and something that we've done for all the districts in the area.
Okay, so I'm familiar with you guys with practical company. So the numbers were presented come to 11.9. I mean, we would theoretically be looking at something less than that. We would
We hope to do that. One of the things that FGH does when they do their conceptual design is put an estimate to that. And so when you look at those conceptual designs, they haven't been detailed to the point of what you see in finished construction. So we always try to find savings for the districts. And here's an example. When Kramer Brothers and FGH worked together at River Ridge, we were able to actually add more square footage to the building for the same cost. And so there was a value there in adding that. Other districts, Ithaca, for example, we were able to actually bring the we always coach districts to do at the front end, and FEH does the same, is to be responsible in the number that you put in front of the taxpayers in terms of the total dollar amount, hopes that we can, through competitive bidding and value engineering and building, bring the number down.
The last thing I want to do is bait and switch. And here's what's going on.
It should be a significant savings, I would think.
I don't want to say we're asking for 11.9 and it's going to come in at 10. I don't want to do that either.
Right.
I'd rather if it comes in 10 and I can say, hey, guess what? We did this and it came in at 10 instead of 11.
And if I may interject and proceed with FEH, the preliminary budget numbers include construction costs and all the soft costs. So you're talking about furniture and all of the fees that go into the project. So it's an all-encompassing number. So your construction will be less than that, and then plus the furniture that you need to go in there, gym equipment, all those other pieces equal that can service it.
And a 15% contingency built in as well.
So along those same lines, I mean, if the referendum passes at 11.9, that basically just means that the district is authorized to borrow up to that amount, right?
Correct.
So if the bid, if we go at it as a full package like it's been suggested, and it's underbid, say it's 10 million, then we don't need to borrow that much, and the mill rate would,
The mill rate would not jump as
It would be a
much.
less amount for
Yep.
the taxpayer.
Yep.
So it's really just a permission to set a limit, not that we necessarily hit that limit.
Right. And, you know, the operating referendum, the 74 cents over 24 years, the first year, it's probably going to be closer to 94 cents. And as Lisa was saying, but then the following year, you get additional state aid, which would bring that down. So then averaged out over 20 years, it would be down to that 74 cents.
The other comment I make about the step class, to your comment, is that school construction costs are reasonably predictable. We know every day what the cost of block and steel and so forth costs. In addition, it's easier to budget for that and project what that might be. So I wouldn't want to lead people astray that 11.9 is going to come down to 8.4. It just won't happen based on the square footage that you're doing there. But the goal is to be as responsible as you can with the number initially, and then through competitive bidding, try to bring the number down.
Thankfully, it's not going to be stick built with all the hurricanes. There wouldn't be 2x4 or sheet of plywood to be had right now either. So, any other questions? Yes, sir.
If the referendum is turned down, what amount of estimate do we have invested at this point in time period?
With Baird, nothing. They will not be paid unless the referendum is successful. FEH has been an ongoing service that they've provided for us. They were part of the design and the architectural for the roof project and the front office project, so there aren't any additional fees.
Very minimal.
Right.
The contingency you mentioned that the 15% contingency, is that, can you explain that?
I'll let the builders maybe give you a better answer than I can. And, you know, it's in case prices come in a little differently, in case labor comes in a little differently.
I would guess I would have wondered, is there a third party that we can oversee this project, or we've done in the past other projects? I know these are a very reputable company. Spending money wisely, I don't know if our district needs to pay somebody to do that.
We have Roger. Roger can do it for us, I guess.
I would prefer that than spending money to oversee something.
That's completely understandable. I don't know that Roger would want to do something like that.
I think we should go with a reputable contractor and we trust that.
That they can, a reputable contractor can always work as your general as well. You know, that decision is going to be left up to the school board. Yeah.
One of the things that we've historically done to address that issue is that school board members are invited to our office on the day that we take competitive bids from subcontractors and suppliers. So they see all of those numbers come in for see the level of competition, they see the numbers that come right in. So everything is 100% transparent. There aren't any gains, there isn't any additional markup in anything. It's the cost of your project plus the fee that we charge, and that's the cost of your project. So it's very simple and straightforward. Many board members have actually really enjoyed the process of being able to do it.
If anybody has questions about the FEH design portion of the process for the facility assessment or the space needs or review of the plan, I'm available after here or whatever you need. And Christine.
Lisa would certainly help answer any of the financing questions, the bond questions that we have asked. If there are no other questions, I really appreciate you coming out tonight. Hopefully pick up a rock and put it in your pocket as you head back to the car so you don't get blown away.